video that describes how to make wax slugs, or at least the way we're trying to make wax slugs. So basically it takes some ideas from a couple different people on YouTube. We kind of tried it out with cutting the tops, and I didn't like that because I was worried the wax slug would actually come out in the barrel and blow up like somebody on YouTube said it did. So instead we're just going to drill the center of the casing out, and made a couple little things here. One, just a little guide to hold it. I tried a couple of different paddle bits to bore this out, but ended up with the 7/8 bit because it makes a hole that's just a little bit big, so it's easy to get out, and just basically hold the shell, and then you can just basically pinch it and keep it from spinning until you cut the end out. Just so you can keep control of the thing, set your drill to probably the slowest speed possible, because you don't really need any speed. So I set this on 760 RPMs, which is the lowest I can go on this particular drill. And basically, once you've got it stuck in there, you're just going to pinch it with your hands and basically drill out the top. So I'm going to flip that on and hold the basically want to knock just a couple free, and then it'll all come out pretty easily in the pan. So I've got a pan over here where I'm melting some wax with starting to melt wax with a halogen lamp. So let's pick this a little bit, so I didn't quite get all the plastic. But once you break up the balls, the shot, it just comes out pretty easily. And I've got a few in there. I'm going to take some of the burrs off. I'll put back in there, and then flip this on. Get the hole nice and rounded and evened out. You can see that. And then you're ready to go. It doesn't take very long. And I'm going to get this candle melted in here, and we'll turn these into wax slugs. And so you can see it's real easy, and we're going to use a funnel to basically pour the shot back in with the wax, fill it up to the top, and maybe even gloss the top with wax. But you still got the rim, the crimp in, so make sure that slug isn't going to come out in the barrel when you're holding it. And it should also mean that you couldn't put these in tubes or run them through a semi-automatic without damaging or cracking the wax, because you don't want the shot to get out. So we're going to see how it works, but this is how we're starting it. It's kind of the method I'm using to melt the candle with the shot. I didn't really have a heating source, and so right now this seems to be doing a pretty good job. Should be melted here in a few minutes. Kind of how we're going about melting this candle down, and I've seen some other people say that you want to be real careful melting that on heat because it might catch fire. I'm thinking somebody else was using a halogen bulb to melt it, so this seems to be working. It's actually melting that down pretty well. It worked a lot better once I piled some shot up on top of the soft wax, and the shot just really seemed to take the heat and bring it into the wax better. And now it's melting really, really well. So I'm hoping another few minutes, and we'll have something ready to pour. I've got a little funnel here that basically lines up size-wise. I sized it to match the size of the hole that I'm drilling, so that we can slap it right in there and fill it up and and it should fit. I am kind of curious if anybody has any ideas. This example of this shell right here is the hole's a little off center, and I kind of wonder if that's going to make a difference. I'm a little nervous about shooting it. These I think they're Winchester Universals. They tended to, the bit tended to wander with them more than the Federal rounds, which had a nice kind of starter hole. So we'll see if anybody's got any ideas on that. Please, post something back, and probably won't shoot the ones that are way off center. Or I'm going to get that all in there, and it actually filled it in one little shot, one spoonful, which is kind of interesting. So that filled it with shot. That's pretty cool. I'm going to put some extra wax in there. Make sure it gets full of wax. And actually got it overfilled with wax, so I learned from that. So we'll try the next one. So again, we'll put it in here, and we'll take a single spoonful, maybe a second one, and I think that is full, which is really cool because I can move right to the next one. So this is actually making this really easy. That first one's going to have some wax I have to clean up, but the rest of these really aren't. And I can really see when it's pretty much full and looking good. And alright, here you go. I think that one is right about full. A little bit more that in there. Now, one thing I may be doing here is getting them a little, obviously getting a degree of variability in how many actual shot pellets are in the, making it in. A full spoon looks like too much, really, and so it's got to be a little less than that. And then if I overdo it on the wax, then it spills over like that right there. But in general, this is pretty easy compared to what I've seen other people doing, so I hope it's going to work. So there we go. And that's really cool. There we go. And we'll put a little extra there. And let that fill them. Ooh, I don't like that. Don't want the, I like just wax on the top. No beads in the very top there. Don't know. Now it brings up a couple of thoughts now that I see it, wondering whether or not having wax on the outside of the crimp will cause problems when you shoot it. So I may look for some comments on that, see what people think. I think I will be very careful when I shoot these, and maybe use a string or something to do it remote. I hate to lose a shotgun in the process, but all in the name of science. So I add just a little bit more of this. Now I'm using candle wax here. That will be white, I guess, when it finishes up. I'm hoping that'll keep the temperature, the melt temperature high, so that it'll be more tolerant of sun and whatnot. So we'll let these cool up and see how they look. After looking at these when they got hardened, we kind of figure that it'd be better to take the wax off of the top so that the crimp's not covered with wax, because when it goes you know, when it explodes in the chamber, that's going to unfold to let the power piston and the slug out, and you know, it's going to put wax probably inside the bore, and I don't want that. So I'm going to scratch them out with a screwdriver, and then probably come back with maybe something hot, maybe and melt the wax down so that it's less in the crimp, and we'll see how that works. So let's take this and scratch around here, and it's solid enough now. That makes that pretty easy. You just kind of scrape it off. I'm trying to finish these up and get the excess wax off of the top of the crimp, so that there's as little of that there as possible, using a hairdryer, and just kind of getting it up on the you know, pretty close here without heating it up too much. And it actually kind of softly melts the wax and kind of blows it over the edge, and I can just scrape it off the edges. But I don't want too much buildup in there. I want it to stay kind of just the wax up to the hole, and hoping that when it expands better without having wax thrown off of this. So don't know if that's something to worry about or not, but it was kind of bugging me, so that's what I'm going to do. I've got just kind of all lined up here, and I'm going to heat them up one at a time and take off the excess, and hopefully these will be done.